So far on the retreat, we've been looking at the Satipatthana Sutta, and we've been looking at in detail and how to deconstruct human experience or how to deconstruct our mind during our meditation for insight. We've come to understand the first three Satipatthanas, Kaya, as the elemental quality experienced within our body, Vedana, as the experience of pleasantness, unpleasantness, and neither, and that can be worldly or spiritual. This is really important. And what was interesting last night was reading the mindfulness of mind section and seeing how the Buddha saw the human mind not as thinking, not as likes and dislikes and views and opinions, but as awareness and colouring of awareness. The different disturbances within awareness, there's things that affect the lens from which we view the world through. To come to understand this, we also deconstructed thinking. Maybe we got a glimpse that thinking is an experience within our five senses that the mind creates. So it's actually an object of awareness rather than the mind itself. That brings us on to the mindfulness of dharmas section. So understanding dharmas within dharmas. And this contains a lot of different lists. The way they understand mindfulness of dharmas is understanding of idappacciyata, specific conditionality. There's lists of all the conditional experiences that arise and cease within awareness. If we're going to go in depth through all of those, we've already looked at the hindrances, but if we're going to go in depth, we'd need another 9 days. So how many people want to stay for another 9 days so we can finish this sutta off? Oh, we've got a few. Okay, wonderful. Instead, what I like to do is look at certain parts of the understanding of idappacciyata, specific conditionality. First, let's just visit idappacciyata. There's a well-known saying from the Buddha, when this is, that is. When this is not, that is not. With the arising of this comes the arising of that. With the ceasing of this comes the ceasing of that. If you understand idappacciyata, you understand everything. Idappacciyata is deeper understanding than anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Much deeper. If you understand idappacciyata, you also understand karma. And idappacciyata, specific conditionality, ties back into the Buddha's word for meditation, bhavana, which doesn't mean meditation, it means cultivation. It's an agricultural word for cultivating, for growing something. So if you're growing a certain crop, what you do is you create the conditions for weeds, for insects, bugs, diseases to become weak. You don't want them to thrive. And you want to create the conditions for your plants to thrive and grow and produce fruit that you want. The insects, the diseases, the weeds are the akusala, the unwholesome, the unskillful. And the crop that we're growing is the kusala, the wholesome, the skillful. So when you're growing that crop of the plant, what you want to do is have the right amount of water, right soil, right food, right light. I want to protect it from wind and so on. And that's what you're doing in your meditation. The hindrances are akusala. You want to develop insight into the hindrances because they hinder the growth of your plant. They hinder the kusala from growing. Yeah. So understanding of the conditions that support the weeds, the bugs, the diseases, also creates the conditions for your plant to thrive and grow. And what are we growing? The 7 awakening factors. Yeah. So I'd like to look at a specific part of the understanding of Idappaccayata, and that is the weakening of the akusala, and the cultivating and establishing of the kusala. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, and Mahasatipatthana Sutta is a greater discourse on the foundations of mindfulness. It's exactly the same as the Satipatthana Sutta, but it has a Noble Eightfold Path within it and a greater elaboration on the Four Noble Truths. That's the difference. And if we look in the Noble Eightfold Path under right effort, and you also see a reference to it in right intention. So right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right unification. So the effort in our meditation is meant to be in this way. It's not meant to be effort to get someone somewhere or get something. That's the wrong effort. Striving to get something, to get some pleasurable experience. To get some state. The Buddha said, a meditator generates the desire, arouses persistence, upholds and exerts their intention towards the non-arising of unwholesome, unskillful qualities, the akusala, that have not yet arisen. Do you understand that? So this real effort to creating the conditions so the akusala, the unwholesome, the unskillful, do not arise. That's what you're trying to do. They also generate the desire, arouse persistence, uphold and exert their intention towards abandoning of unwholesome, unskillful qualities that have already arisen. So you're inclining your heart and mind towards the kusala, the wholesome, the skillful, and we're doing that in samatha. When you're developing that basis samatha by relaxing awareness back into your body, becoming present in your body, withdrawing that awareness from your mind, and tuning into learning to experience, to feel, to appreciate the spiritual Vedana that arises as you relax and let go. That's what you're doing. You're exerting your effort, your intention, your whole being towards the non-arising of the unwholesome qualities, unskillful qualities. And we're learning that. The hindrances tell us about that. So we develop insight into anything that hinders samatha, because those hindrances tell us about the conditions that support them. And they also tell us how to move from the akusala to the kusala. They're our friend. Hindrances are your friend. They tell us everything we need to understand. Yeah. So the first is to create the conditions so they don't arise, and the next is to exert or understand the conditions that if a hindrance does arise, how to make it cease. And so MIDL is divided into that. We start off with physical restlessness in skill 1, then we learn to work with mental restlessness in skill 2, then we learn to work with sleepiness and dullness in skill 3, and forgetting in skill 4, and mind wandering skill 5. That's what you're actually doing. You're individually learning skills, life skills, for each manifestation of the hindrances, all the way up to access concentration. And you're doing it in a way that develops deep insight into them, into their nature, and also in a way that starts to decondition those hindrances. That means weaken them within your mind and your heart. This is what we're doing. We're going through a jungle and we're clearing a path rather than just barging through the jungle trying to get to a temple. We're clearing the path of the hindrances. If you're developing samatha, then what you tend to do in this is you guard, then abandon. Guard against their arising through sila, through morality, and abandon any hindrances that arise. Understand how to abandon them. If you want to develop insight into the hindrances, and this normally happens when we first come to meditation, and until we really weaken those hindrances, I actually change these factors around. Abandon, guard. Why? Because we tend not to notice a hindrance until it's already there. I don't notice I'm physically restless till it's already there. I don't notice my mind has wandered till it's already wandered. Yeah. I don't notice I'm sleepy till I'm already sleepy, and so on. So in the beginning, when we're learning about the hindrances, we abandon the hindrance that has already arisen. And then when the hindrance weakens, through insight, through softening, relaxing, letting go, through changing its conditions, when it weakens, then what we can do is we can guard against its arising. But it's in a much weaker state. And many of you are experiencing that. Many of you are at that stage where now you just guard, but you no longer need to abandon. Yeah, if you can see that. The Buddha said, they also generate the desire, arouse persistence, uphold and exert their intention towards the arising of the kusala, wholesome, skillful qualities that have not yet arisen. And then they also generate desire, arouse persistence, uphold and exert their intention towards the establishment, non-confusion, increase, plenitude, development, and culmination of the kusala, wholesome, skillful qualities that have already arisen. Wow, he's really talking about establishing it there, isn't he? Uphold, exert, establish, non-confusion, increase, plenitude, development, and culmination. Okay, so what's going on here? Our first stage, now notice right effort in the Noble Eightfold Path is not about pushing our way through. It's not about developing concentrated states. It's about recognizing and weakening the akusala. That's what the Buddha said. Step 1 and 2 is about the akusala. You develop insight into them and you weaken them down however you can. Don't push them away. Don't block them. You want to weaken them down. Yeah. That's your first step. That's what your effort is towards. The effort is towards the hindrances. What's interesting is the hindrances become weaker in us. Then we start to notice the kusala, the wholesome and skillful qualities within ourselves that are also weak. And why are they weak? Because if my natural response in my life is through anger, then loving kindness will be weak within my heart. Yeah. If my natural response to life is through greed, yeah, selfishness, then empathy and compassion will be weak in my heart. If my natural response in life is towards jealousy, we can get jealous of other meditators too, then my ability for mudita, sympathetic joy, joy for others' success will be weak in my heart. The wholesome qualities will be weak because I've been practicing throughout my life the unwholesome, unskillful qualities to just get by in life the best I could as a kind of a protection mechanism. Yeah. When I was weakening down the hindrances within myself, I was also being taught at the same time that the natural state of the human mind was love and compassion and caring, and that my heart would open, but it didn't. Just started to go into this kind of a dry, indifferent state. Has anyone else been there? Yeah? The past insight, you weaken down the hindrances. Okay, my suffering's a lot less than what it was. But my relationship and ability to connect with others and connect with people and animals and plants in the world was not good. It was more an indifference. It's like a cold indifference. This is really common in insight circles. There's two parts to this. An awakening is not just I don't suffer or I don't have any hindrances. Awakening is reconnecting, connecting with ourself and our family and our friends, society, the world. Insight causes letting go, and then the kusala qualities cause the reconnect. We're letting go in removing the addiction from our mind and heart, but then we reconnect through wisdom without addiction. Can you see that difference there? So you need to give up your drug before you actually go back into society again, as it were. So cultivate, establish. Look what's weak within you and then cultivate the conditions and grow it. Practice it. You have to intentionally do this. It's not going to happen accidentally. You've got to go out and engage. Yeah. And within that kusala, of course, is morality, sila. It has to be there. Yeah. Morality is part of the path. I will not harm you. I do my best to live in this world, adding the less or least amount of harm to this world as I can. I'm a human being. I know how dangerous I am. Human beings are dangerous. I disarm myself. I will not harm you. I live my life with as minimum harm as I can. Look at the Buddha's life and the nuns and the monks living a life with adding as little harm to life as they can. Though it's impossible, we can't avoid it. Just the very act of being alive causes harm, but we can minimize it down. Yeah, we can add some good into this world. So you need to then cultivate the wholesome, the kusala, the wholesome, the skillful. And then the next stage is to establish them as your natural expression, as your natural being. Could you picture your heart, your mind with no hindrances? I mean, none. So if you take your personality and remove all the hindrance parts from it, yeah, no irritation, no frustration, no struggle, fight, doubt, no desire, no aversion, no restlessness, no dullness, clear knowing, seeing. And the expression of who you are in the world is metta, karuna, mudita. So loving kindness, compassion, empathy, joy when others succeed and you don't, endless generosity, just able just to give and give and give and never get to that stage where I feel like I can't give anymore. You can just give. Gratitude every moment. No swearing, none of this. It's become popular in Dharma circles to swear. I don't know when that came about. My teachers would have been shocked. No harsh speech, no gossip, kind, gentle words, words that lift up, words that inspire, words that are appropriate for the time, the place. Moving through the world in a very gentle way, a caring way. As a meditator on this retreat shared their experience seeing every plant, every animal, this planet, all the people, everything is being fragile because everyone and everything on this planet, even people you don't like, even the plants, the planet itself, the universe itself, is subject to anicca, to birth and death. And it's all anatta, out of all of their control. Every being. And plants are also beings. They move more slowly, but they're beings. This planet is breathing, it's growing, it's changing. This planet is subject to birth and death, and it's out of its control too. So life is precious, it's fragile, it's fleeting. And everyone and everything is just doing the best they can with what they've got. Can you see that? And even when someone says something harsh or not nice, they're also in samsara. Samsara has consequences. You don't have to do anything. Karma is embedded within the system. Idappaccayata, specific conditionality. So that's where the Buddha said effort is towards guarding against the akusala, abandoning it when it arises, cultivating the kusala and establishing it as your natural way of being, your expression in how you connect. It's pretty beautiful. Does that sound like your understanding of what effort is in meditation? Or is your effort in meditation towards getting something? I want to get a nibbanic experience, or I want to get sotapanna or sakadagami, or I want to get jhana, I want to get piti sukha. That's a common one that we hear. I want to get. That's not what the Buddha said. You start with the akusala first. You go into that which you want to escape from, that which you don't want to experience first. This is why MIDL is set up with always with a hindrance first, samatha quality second. Look at skill 1, physical restlessness first. You have a little arrow and then you have body relaxation. Body relaxation is the quality of samatha, kusala. Physical restlessness, akusala. You start with that first. Guard, abandon physical restlessness. Cultivate, establish body relaxation. Right effort. Each skill teaches you right effort. Takes it in the right direction. Yeah. Wonderful. A lot of our suffering comes because of the Vedana that our mind uses for thoughts and memories. Yeah. And through relaxing, letting go, we can start to lower that feeling or that Vedana attached to thoughts and memories. So if we look at it, we talked about the other day that the mind has a sorting mechanism. And this sorting mechanism is that it uses pleasant feeling, yeah, to sort out memories that are safe. So good memories that you've had throughout your life, you'll find when you bring them to mind, you'll feel nice and pleasant. You'll get a pleasant feeling from it. And then the mind also stores memories of things that are dangerous and threatening when things have been difficult in your life. And to sort them out, what it does is it attaches an unpleasant feeling to that memory. So when you bring up that memory, when that memory comes up, it's triggered in your mind, that unpleasant feeling will be released. So safe memories will produce a pleasant feeling, and unsafe memories will produce an unpleasant feeling. And you may have noticed that certain memories, when you reflect on them, your mind brings them up. You actually feel good. They're kind of nice. Oh, that beach holiday or the time the family got together or something like that. You can see there's a pleasant feeling there. If you enjoy that memory, your mind will make that pleasant feeling stronger on that memory and then store it back again. And anything can trigger that. You might see a sight and suddenly remember that memory, or hear a certain song or a sound, or smell something, taste something, experience something with your body and it brings up that pleasant memory. And now I feel nice. Wonderful. Yeah. That makes sense so far, doesn't it? Yeah. But also the mind stores dangerous memories and it attaches an unpleasant feeling, yeah, to signal danger. Now, these unpleasant memories can also be triggered by sights, sounds, smells, tastes, experiences within your body, thoughts, memories. They can trigger another memory. And when this memory is triggered, right, what it does is that unpleasant feeling attached to it gets released in your body. I want to include too that these memories are being used for the mind in perception. That means on contact with anything, your mind is using these memories as a reference point in how I should respond or act. And the Vedana, the feeling that's triggered release, says it. So if it's pleasant, desire will come up. Oh, I wouldn't mind a bit more of that. If it's unpleasant, then aversion will come up. I want that to go away. You'll start to push it away automatically. It will just happen. This is totally out of our control. If we've experienced trauma within our life, then we'll have more memories within our mind with unpleasant feeling than pleasant. Within myself many years ago, and working with a lot of people with depression, the deeper the depression, the more unpleasant memories there are, and the least amount of, only a few pleasant memories. And it can get to the stage where all memories are unpleasant. As insight meditators, we're dealing with this all the time. Every time you experience something, your mind is placing a judgment based on your past. Yeah. If you like pleasant feeling and you don't like unpleasant feeling, then these memories will govern your behavior. It just becomes automatic. What we can do as insight meditators is we can actually remove this Vedana from memories. So what we do is we change the way our mind perceives. We can strip it back. And there's a trick to this. So let's look at this in insight meditation, the levels of deconditioning your mind. The first level of deconditioning is when you're able to just be present to an experience that arises within your awareness and you don't react to it anyway. Yeah. So once you get to a place in your practice where you can be present in your body, you can just be aware, and you just allow whatever to arises to be there without reacting to it. What you're telling your mind is this is not important. If you try to ignore an experience that comes up, you are telling your mind that this is important because you're making an effort to ignore it. And so what you're doing is you're telling your mind, I do not want this, so please bring this to my attention again and again. We've got to understand how the mind kind of thinks in a way. Yeah. So, the other thing to understand is that if we try to change it, so we want to swap out this experience with another experience, we're also telling the mind that this is important. Please bring it to my attention. If we try to suppress it, we're saying that it's important. If we interact with it in any way, try to make it grow, try to make it weaker, make it go away, we're telling our mind that this is important. Please bring it up again. The mind reacts to any interaction with any experience the same way YouTube does with any interaction to one of its videos. If you just hover over it, even if you pause on a line of 4 videos, it's saying one of these videos in this line is capturing eye time. If you hover over it and it starts to play a little bit, it'll go, you like this. I will bring this up in your feed again. It's working this out by where you pause when you're scrolling. You'll see Reddit does that very aggressively. You look at one video and suddenly you've got all these cat videos. I looked at a couple of cat videos and suddenly I've got all these cat videos. And it's like, I don't want to look at that many cat videos. But they just suddenly become, the whole feed is just filled with it. The human mind is the original AI, artificial intelligence, because it's artificial. And it looks at your browsing behavior. It looks at what you hover on. It looks at what you give value to. For deconditioning your mind, for deconstructing it and deconditioning it, You've got to understand that any value you give to anything is recorded, just like social media. Yeah. Eventually, your feed just gets filled with one thing, a very narrow view. Your mind will have a very narrow way and thinks the way it sees the world. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is just to be present with experiences that are there and allow them to come and go. So in MIDL, what we do is we soften, relax back into the awareness of our body. We do something controversial. We allow our attention to wander around. We don't hold our attention on an object. We remain grounded, present within awareness of the body, kaya gata sati. And whatever the mind presents, be that pleasant, be that unpleasant, be it a thought, be it a memory, be it a sound or a sight, a smell, a taste, be it a sensation in the body, yeah, be it a like, a dislike, be it doubt, be it a hindrance, we just welcome it as a gift. Allow it to be there as long as it wants. It can just stay there and sit down beside me and then just allow it to go, seeing it's anicca and anatta. And many of you have experienced your meditation like this. Yeah. We don't even need to practice mindfulness of breathing to do this. And not everyone's path is one of mindfulness of breathing. Some people perceive the breathing easy, others don't. If the breathing's not there, that's okay. Welcome that. You don't have to be like everyone else. Actually, different is good. You're lucky. All these boring people practicing mindfulness breathing. And you get to practice mindfulness of body. Yeah? Just welcoming and letting go, letting be, releasing. And then what do we do in MIDL? We observe when our mind engages and says that, oh, this thought is special. This experience is special. And we soften, relax, let it go. We let it go from the grip of the mind for worldly Vedana, soften, relax to turn it into spiritual Vedana, and enjoy, smile, returning of the awareness of the body, the letting go, the relief of putting that down and just letting things be. This deconditions that behavior of the mind because we're not trying to remove the experience that's there. We're not trying to push it away, change it, avoid it. We're softening and relaxing the mind's relationship towards it, a relationship of going towards and grabbing with attention and releasing and coming back into awareness and finding enjoyment in that release to reward the mind for letting go. Yeah. So the first layer of deconditioning, you can just be present and allow things to come and go. The second layer, you can apply GOS. And GOS accelerates the deconditioning because it not only says this isn't important by softening against it, it also brings up and enjoys spiritual Vedana as an alternative for the mind. You're saying, oh, that thought about what happened yesterday is not important. It can be there, not there, I don't care. But this is important. This presence of the body, this relaxing, letting go is beautiful. Don't you like this? And you'll find in this way you start to strip down the Vedana attached to the thought or memory or reaction. And this is because when we tell the mind that this is not important, the mind will lower the importance by lowering the strength of the Vedana attached to that memory or attached to that reaction. It will lower it. If we react with desire or aversion, the mind will gradually increase the Vedana. So if I'm averse towards something and I react, next time I experience something similar, the unpleasantness of it will increase. Have you noticed that? It increases. Yeah, you're cycling through a thought, it'll just get more and more unpleasant. Cycling through an aversion, it will grow and grow and grow and grow. But if you don't react to it, you just allow it to be, the mind will degrade the Vedana. It gets weaker, 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 gone.